This is Channel 7 Eyewitness News with Bill Butel and Kaiti Tong, Corey McFerrin with sports, Stormfield with the weather, and the Eyewitness News team. Now, Eyewitness News.
Good evening, I'm Bill Butel. New York is not a town that scares easily, but they're scared on the Upper West Side tonight. Scared because someone, apparently a gang of young girls, has been jabbing women with something that feels like needles, hypodermic needles. And they're scared because if your luck runs out, the needle might give you AIDS. N.J. Burkett is live on the Upper West Side. N.J.?
Bill, more have come forward, but detectives are saying there have been no new attacks here since 8 p.m. on Friday. Over 4 days last week, there were 23 needle attacks on the Upper West Side. And because the attackers are black and most of the victims are white, police are calling in the Special Bias Unit to investigate. This is Broadway, just north of 96th Street, well-traveled and brightly lit. The attacks haven't exactly happened in broad daylight, but to the people who live here, it hardly matters.
I am really, I'm looking around for groups of, of young girls. I never used to do that.
Joseph Figueroa is a doorman at a neighborhood building.
Well, I'll tell you, the tenants in the area, in the building I work at, they're terrorized. Before they would go out alone, now they're going out in 2 and 3. Most of the people are expressing a terror that this group or gang of people are terrorizing them.
City Captain, send one to Borough. East Side City Captain, send one to Borough, please.
The 24th Precinct has saturated the area with uniformed cops, and the Guardian Angels have taken up positions up and down Broadway.
Actually, I was talking to one of the cops the other night and asked him if they'd caught him, and he said they don't think they'll come back as long as the police are here. There's a policeman on every corner right now.
The attacks have taken place between the hours of 6 and 8 p.m. along a 15-block stretch of Broadway between 95th Street and 110th Street. Detectives now believe it's more than a coincidence. Of the 23 attacks reported here between Tuesday and Friday of last week, 22 of the victims were white neighborhood women. Witnesses say all of the attackers were black teenaged girls.
It leads us to believe that there is a possibility that they may be racially motivated.
Police say that because they haven't recovered a weapon, they're still not sure what it is. But what neighbors and victims fear most is that it's a syringe contaminated with AIDS-infected blood.
It's hard to determine what the AIDS risk is, what the hepatitis risk is, but clearly there is concern.
Doctors say the chances of contracting AIDS in cases like this are remote. So far, we're looking at a bias investigation, not a bias crime, at least not yet, according to police. We're live on the Upper West Side. N.J. Burkett, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
A verdict tonight in another case that sent a shiver of fear through New York. His attorneys had tried to argue that Stephen Smith was insane when he raped and strangled Catherine Hinnant, a pregnant doctor in her Bellevue Hospital office, January 7th. But the jury didn't buy it. And today, after only 2 hours of deliberation, the jury foreman read the verdict, guilty. Carol Ivana has a story.
Guilty.
It was guilty today on all counts for Stephen Smith. Guilty of murder, guilty of rape and robbery and sodomy. In less than 2 hours of deliberation, the jury determined that Smith was not insane when he murdered and raped Dr. Catherine Hinnant at Bellevue Hospital on January 7th, as he claimed, but rather that he knew exactly what he was doing.
Was there ever a doubt in your mind that he was guilty?
Not once we heard the charges, no.
Once you heard the charges, you knew?
Absolutely.
During the trial, the jury saw vivid pictures of the crime scene. Defense attorney Marvin Kornberg said today that once the jury saw those pictures, they couldn't accept the insanity plea.
Once the jury saw the videotape of the room with the blood splattered all over, once they saw the blow-ups of the dead body in a nude position and with rigor mortis having set in, a dress pulled up, naked from the waist down, the defendant didn't stand a chance.
Kornberg had argued that the pictures were unnecessary because Smith had admitted he killed Hinnant, but the prosecutor said the pictures were important to the case.
What we were judging in this case by the insanity defense is the defendant's conduct, and that is a first-hand look at what the defendant's conduct was.
At Bellevue Hospital tonight, a sigh of relief and a feeling that justice was served.
I mean, I do feel that justice was done, and I'm glad that there was some vindication in this case.
While his attorney says he will appeal the case, Stephen Smith will be sentenced on November 21st. He could get from 50 years to life in prison, and the DA's office says it will ask for the maximum sentence. At Criminal Court, I'm Carol Ivana, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Criminal proceedings may now be over in this case, but civil proceedings are just beginning. Smith was able to wander around Bellevue simply by wearing a medical smock. Now Hennon's husband is filing a multi-million-dollar suit against the city, charging negligence at Bellevue.
Tonight, the U.S. Navy is trying to figure out how it is that a U.S. fighter plane accidentally dropped a 500-pound bomb on a guided missile cruiser during maneuvers in the Indian Ocean. The USS Reeves was something like 30 miles from the U.S. island base of Diego Garcia when it was bombed. The bomb blew a 5-foot hole in the deck of the Reeves, seen here in file tape. 5 of the crew were slightly injured. And the aircraft carrier Lexington's back at its home port of Pensacola, Florida tonight after one of its planes crashed into the deck last night. The ship was in the Gulf of Mexico when a pilot tried his first carrier landing ever and smashed into the deck. 5 sailors, including the pilot, were killed and 19 were injured. Navy officials are checking to see if the crash was caused by pilot error or perhaps by a mechanical malfunction on board the plane.
This is Devil's Night, the night before Halloween. And in Detroit, on Devil's Night, the problem is arson. So far, 169 young people have been arrested for deliberately setting fires, an annual problem in the Motor City before Halloween. This year, Mayor Coleman Young put in a special 3-day dusk-to-dawn curfew starting last night. Last year, there were more than 200 Devil's Night fires in Detroit. Police are refusing to say how many fires there have been so far this year.
In New York City tonight, there's word of a really major real estate sale. Rockefeller Center is being sold to the Japanese. The Mitsubishi Estate Company of Tokyo, one of the world's biggest real estate developers, is paying $846 million in cash for 51% of the Rockefeller Group, which owns Rockefeller Center along with Radio City Music Hall and other major buildings, office buildings in Midtown Manhattan. The president of Mitsubishi says his group shares the Rockefeller family's vision of the center as a very special place in New York City, and they wanted to own it. The race for mayor of New York City is entering into its final week now, and the candidates are still not even close to a face-to-face debate. But tonight, at least they appeared before the same audience, though not at the same time. Tim Minton was there. He has the story.
Rudolph Giuliani leaving a candidate's forum tonight a half hour behind schedule.
Hello, everyone.
And David Dinkins arriving even later to avoid a face-to-face run-in with TV cameras around. It happened at the end of a campaign day scattered with other carefully designed images. Giuliani with Jewish groups and senior citizens in Brooklyn. Dinkins with Jewish groups and senior citizens and Edward Kennedy in Queens. Then tonight at the Forum, sponsored by an arts group, comedian Whoopi Goldberg asked Giuliani how he plans to help those in the city who can't help themselves.
I believe that there's a special burden and responsibility on me because of the way people perceive me to do a lot more about the problems of suffering and poverty than maybe you expect.
Outside afterward, political sparks started flying when reporters asked about those elusive debates. Giuliani steamed at Dinkins' continuing demand to include right-to-life candidate Henry Hughes.
What he says is a total smokescreen, and you know it.
It's not a smokescreen, and you know it.
David Dinkins or Rudy Giuliani is going to be the next mayor of the city. There's no reason to hear from Mr. X, Mr. Y, and Mr. Z, who have no chance of being mayor.
If he agreed to one with Hughes, would you agree to one without Hughes?
No. I'm not going to permit him to force me into a posture of excluding people over time.
Well, it wasn't a debate, but Giuliani and Dinkins were in the same place about 8 minutes apart. And so far in this campaign, that's as close to a head-to-head discussion of the issues as it's gotten. In Manhattan, Tim Minton, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
He's not a secretary, but in Queens this morning, Brian Boatwright tried to take a letter, and he got arrested for it. The 27-year-old Boatwright got his arms stuck in a mailbox. Boatwright then had an alphabet of city services trying to free him with the EMS, the ESU, and the NYPD, all on the case. After several tries, Boatwright was finally freed. Well, he may be putting a few change of addressed cards in the mail himself. He's been charged with criminal trespass, attempted larceny, and mail tampering.
And when Katie and I come back with more Eyewitness News, dramatic new developments in the Bensonhurst killing. A new story from a woman who comforted Joseph Hawkins as he lay dying in August.
And the problems of growing up in a mixed marriage. Have times and attitudes changed?
Voting is more than choosing a president. Important elections are happening this year. Don't forget to register. Be more than just talk. Vote.
Toshiba introduces the brightest, most powerful TV in its class. The new 32-inch Super Tube with power swivel and super carver sonicalography. Think of it as turbocharged TV.
If I have to fly to the coast, I want to fly in business class. That is, if I can find a flight that has one.
With TWA, there's a separate business class on every coast-to-coast nonstop.
That does take the guesswork out of it.
Upgrade and free. Two of my favorite words.
In TWA's frequent flight bonus program, you can get unlimited free upgrades to business class after flying just 5,000 miles. Today's TWA. Find out how good we really are.
A large European corporation needed $300 million. So they contacted the London office of Shearson Lehman Hutton, who contacted the Tokyo, New York, and Geneva offices seeking the lowest cost funds. The European corporation had its money in 24 hours. Few companies could have engineered a transaction this large, this quickly. Shearson Lehman Hutton. When you do it better, you get to be the leader.
If you've been waiting for the right moment to buy or lease a Honda, it's just arrived at your Tri-Honda dealer.
Tonight, there's been a new development in the Bensonhurst killing of 16-year-old Yusuf Hawkins. Elizabeth Galarza, the woman who comforted Hawkins as he lay dying, has changed her story. Galarza now says accused triggerman Joey Fama acted alone, and the gang involved did not appear until after Hawkins was shot. Why the switch?
I have children. I'm a mother of 4, and that's it. Think about it. But why you were a mother of 4, how would you feel?
You were scared?
What would you say? You saw a dead boy on the street. You know, if you're a mother, how you feel?
You were scared at first, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Galarza's new story complicates investigators' theories that the killing was racially motivated. It also hurts the prosecution's murder cases against 5 other teenagers. Attorneys for some of those teenagers were in court today. Some sought to have charges dismissed. Others want their cases tried separately. Well, tonight, Galarza herself is in a safe house run by the Congress of Racial Equality. Bill?
In New York City, interracial marriage is a fairly common thing. A black man marries a white woman or the other way around. But to say it's fairly common is not to say it's always easy. And to understand interracial marriage, maybe you have to walk for just a while in the shoes of someone who lives there. Someone like Mark Chokanowski. Kathy Wolf has his story.
Mark Chokanowski knows what it's like to be the child of a mixed marriage.
You're 35 now. I'm sure interracial marriage 35 years ago
wasn't a thing to do.
Mark's father was white, his mother black, and Mark married an Hispanic woman. He grew up on Long Island and went to an almost entirely black high school. He says he'll never forget when his father insisted on coming to parents' night.
And I remember some of my friends were there, and they were like, whoa, you know, your father's white. I was getting like, you know, like your mother must have been desperate marrying a white guy. Your father was, well, saying your father was kinky or weird for marrying a black woman.
Mark has a son now, but he doesn't think 4-year-old Eric will have to endure the same kind of prejudice since attitudes have changed.
In the 1950s, interracial marriages were illegal in this country in about a dozen states. But in 1967, the Supreme Court struck down those laws, and since then, there's been a wider acceptance of mixed marriages.
When Mark was just 14, a Gallup poll showed only 20% of the American population approved of interracial marriages. In 72, 29% approved. In 1978, 36% approved. And in 83, 43% approved.
At first, my father was going to go to parents' night. And being in a predominantly black school, 99% black, I didn't want him to go because I figured it's going to be really bad, and I didn't want, at that time, I didn't want anybody to really see my white father.
Despite his own childhood experience, Mark is hopeful about his marriage to Alva and his son's future. In Manhattan, Kathy Wolf, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
Racial tension was the topic of Oprah Winfrey's show today, which was taped here in New York City. But tonight, Oprah was in front of the crowds at Westbury Music Fair. Our own Roz Abrams introduced the talk show host. Oprah talked about her childhood, her career, the theater, her loves, her heritage, her goals.
The drums of Africa still beat in my heart. They won't let me rest until every black boy and every black girl has had a chance to prove their worth. I'm just one black woman. Standing, struggling, surviving, either married, in jail.
And there were the lighter moments as Oprah told jokes and traded personal stories with the audience. Tomorrow, Oprah's show focuses on single men, mothers, and marriage. That'll be here on Channel 7 at 4 o'clock, also taped in New York City.
In fact, I think she's doing all her shows this week from New York.
She is, yes, as a matter of fact, you're right.
When we continue with Eyewitness News, Corey McFerrin live from Giant Stadium with the latest on Phil Simms.
And the first-place Rangers try to stay there as they take on the Flyers.
Some say ghosts are haunting our neighborhoods.
It began to slap me.
Who you gonna call?
An exorcist.
Watch Ghost Chasers Tuesday on Eyewitness News at 11.
In the mayoral elections, you should elect the person that will best defend the interests of your community. If you are one of the 425,000 Puerto Rican and Latino registered voters, you have the right to vote and the power to make your vote count in the November 7th election. You have the weight to change the balance of power in your favor. It's your community. It's your city. Make sure it's your city hall.
I often can't get to my personal business calls during normal daytime hours when most businesses are open. Other people have that problem too. That's why where I work, Lilco, we now have people available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can call us anytime with questions about your gas and electric bills, about service, or about any of Lilco's programs to help you lower your bills. We're available around the clock, so please give us a call whenever it's convenient for you.
There are two ways to make a Volkswagen go fast. The other way is to make a new Volkswagen. Introducing Corrado, the new European-designed, supercharged, intercooled, 140-mile-per-hour Volkswagen. It's time to think about Volkswagen again.
In today's hotter running engines, wear is a greater problem than ever before. Oil breakdown can shorten the life of vital engine parts. That's why there's Castrol. Castrol provides maximum protection against viscosity and thermal breakdown. So use Castrol, because driving today can be a grind. Castrol, engineered for today's smaller cars.
Look for premium quality Castrol motor oils at your nearest Aid Auto Store.
The best road is the railroad, Metro North.
I assume you liked the game tonight, the Vikings and the Giants.
Watched every second of it.
So did you. You've just finished watching the Giants at the Meadowlands tonight. Corey McFerrin did that also. He's there now. He has sports tonight. Corey?
Quite a ball game, guys, huh? A lot of people enjoyed this one. You know, all week long, we were hearing about how great Minnesota's defense was. Well, maybe that inspired the Giants' defense tonight, because this game was all about defense and all about special teams, because without Phil Simms and without the injured Mark Bavaro, the Giants get the job done against a very strong Minnesota club. Let's look at some of the highlights. And early on, it didn't look too good for the home team, especially in that first quarter. Giants' first possession, as a matter of fact, 3rd and long, Simms sacked by Al Noga. And Simms limps off. Turns out to be a sprained ankle. He would not return. Jeff Hostetler replaces Simms, and you're thinking this could be a long night, especially when on the next series, Tommy Kramer on the screen finds Herschel Walker, who bangs across just barely, and it's 7-0 Vikings. Now that's the halftime score. Then the turning point of the game, early in the 3rd, Kramer under siege, puts it up, and it's picked off by Pepper Johnson. There he is at the 39-yard line. And watch what this guy does. He should put him in the backfield. Gonna dive across right there for the touchdown. That's a highlight reel play, man. 7-7. Then Alfred Anderson to receive. Gets blasted by Lewis Tillman right there. At this point, it's a 10-7 ball game. You see the ball pop loose, and it's recovered by Giles for the Giants. Just a huge play. And then 3 plays later, it's Jeff Hostetler at the controls. He'll look to the end zone. He'll pass, and it's Lionel Manuel. Touchdown at 17-7 Giants. They go on to score again after another Anderson fumble, and this baby's over. The final 24-14. I talked to one of the heroes, Jeff Hostetler, a moment ago.
I felt good right off the bat. It's just, hey, they're a great team, and it's a tough situation to come in, and you know, things went well, and we pulled out a victory.
Would you have said no way if Sims and Bavaro aren't here to beat these guys like this?
No, I still think we could do it.
Okay.
And we did it.
All right, Jeff Hostetler, another big hero. Pepper, and you just got a chance to see that play. Let's see it one more time. I want you to take it through for us. Now, did you see goal line right away?
I smelt it. We'll just say I smelt it. I leaped up in there. I had to catch it in my gut because I probably missed about 3 interceptions this week. And I wanted to outrun Kramer, but Mark got up in there and laid a good block for me. Right here, he just gave me that extra nudge, and I hopped on my right foot twice, and I had to dive. I wanted to sell out all the way for the touchdown, and my mother and my little boy and stuff was watching me. It was a great feeling. It was a great feeling for me. I'm sorry that I didn't keep the ball the first time. I didn't keep the ball after I'd made a big play, but I had to spike it. They told me it went somewhere. I wished Eddie would have got it for me, but it was a great feeling for us. I felt it was a big turning point for us, and it was a great feeling.
All right. Congratulations. Keep it up.
Thank you.
All right. Pepper Johnson, one of the heroes tonight. As of right now, thanks, Pepper. As far as Phil Sims is concerned, no word yet just how badly that ankle has been banged up. Now, let's switch gears here, talk a little bit about hockey at the Garden tonight. The Rangers finally fall at home. Flyers beat them by a 3-1 margin tonight. First period, there is no score. Behind the Ranger goal, watch out for Doug Sullivan. Centers to Mark Howe. The wrist shot right there. Going to beat Bob Froese. Philly up 1-0. Then to the second period. Flyers on the power play. Watch out for Timmy Kerr in front. He will poke in the rebound right there, right between Froese's legs. 2-zip. The final is 3-1. Now to baseball. So what exactly are the Oakland A's up to just 2 days after capturing the world title? Well, for one thing, no parade in Oakland because they didn't want to have a parade out of respect for the folks who were so suffering through the earthquake, etc. But they had a rally today, a lot of chest thumping and back slapping. Here's Tony La Russa. Listen to this.
I don't think any team was ever asked to do more than our team had to do to get here today. So I think our club deserves more credit than any club ever had.
No question about it. One of the great teams of all time, the Athletics of Oakland. That's it from Giant Stadium, 24-14 the final. Giants go to 7-1. Only the 49ers have a similar record in the NFL. Bill Kitey?
Great.
Okay, Corey, thanks very much. When we continue, it was too good to last, wasn't it?
Yeah, it sure was. Storm says it's a big change in the weather heading our way.
Gary Cooper's on-screen love affairs were as legendary as his off-screen affairs in the Inside Stories on Entertainment Tonight.
Tomorrow at 7:30, right after Jeopardy, here on Channel 7.
Something big is coming to your house. Pioneer's combination Laserdisc CD player. It plays CDs and hit movies. Laserdisc movies are 60% sharper than ordinary VCRs and feature CD sound. Pioneer Laserdisc. It is a huge idea. Call 1-800-421-1404 for your nearest dealer.
Long ago, in this Bell Atlantic neighborhood, you could hear Brahms every afternoon, played by a little girl just a telephone call away from fame. A call that introduced us all to the glorious voice of Roberta Flack. The people of Bell Atlantic have always answered the call for Roberta and for you.
Let's go to Wendy's for lunch.
Oh, yeah. I'd love one of their chicken filet sandwiches.
You know they have 3 now?
Really?
You know
Yeah, there's the chicken filet sandwich.
And the chicken club with bacon.
And right now they have the chicken and parmesan.
Oh. Are you thinking what I am?
Yeah, maybe we'll get all 3.
I think you're right.
My daughter Wendy said, Dad, man does not live by hamburgers alone. I said, Wendy, who told you that?
Now get 3 chicken choices only at Wendy's.
Happy days again.
Why are you so happy, Jesse?
It's accurate. They did it again. #1 in customer satisfaction. 3 years in a row. All my customers are happy, so I'm happy.
Happy days are here during your Tri-State Acura dealer's introduction of the all-new Acura Integra 4-door sedan. Priced from as low as $13,145.
Is everybody happy? Yeah! I love this job. Next.
Hi, Jesse. Break it to us gently, Storm. Please.
Cuddy.
It's over. Yeah, not
Outside
not good,
today,
huh?
we had ourselves a gorgeous day. I certainly hope you enjoyed it. A lovely evening. But unfortunately, the landscape is going to be changing over the next couple of days. Definitely some changes coming our way. Look at the humidity, 93% right now. 62 degrees outside, still mild. Barometric pressure rising. Winds from the southeast, 4 miles an hour, quite moist. 73.55, the split today, 11 degrees above normal. For tonight, not much to worry about here. Temperatures will be staying about the same as they have all along, but we will be seeing some changes coming our way, and here they are. Cold front coming in from the west. This is going to bring some clouds and some much cooler temperatures. You've got a low-pressure storm center that's been sitting off the coast since last Thursday. Hasn't been able to get here until high pressure that was covering us and protecting us moves away. Now you can see it's sliding up, the cloud coverage moving up over New Jersey and heading for the rest of southeastern New York State, Connecticut, and Long Island. This is going to also give us some showers, more activity along the shoreline than anywhere else. By the afternoon, some of that could be fairly heavy. So the forecast tomorrow morning, mostly cloudy, 58 degrees, still on the mild side. Then the day tomorrow, we'll have some rain developing, about 65 will be the high. And as far as the long-range outlook, after the rain on Tuesday, we get some clearing out on Wednesday. And notice how the temperatures drop off. Very, very cool as we head into this weekend, but a lot of sunshine.
It's nice while it lasted. Thanks. That does it for us.
For Kathy Tong and Corey McFerrin, Stormfield, all of us at Eyewitness News, Bill Butel, good luck, be well.
The high was, you know, it was so intense, and it just lasts so long.
These addicts have smoked it.
It's so ridiculous. You want it. You want it.
These city streets are where users say they buy it. But drug enforcement officials insist it isn't a problem in New York. Not yet. The drug world calls it ICE, and Eyewitness News senior correspondent John Johnson tracked it from Hawaii to New York City. Watch his investigative report, ICE, Wednesday on Eyewitness News at 6 here on Channel 7.
The life and future of the Democratic Party will be tested in your city in this election. Republican Rudolph Giuliani has opposed a woman's right to choose and called for reversing Roe v. Wade. During the Reagan years, I watched him fight for judges and policies to roll back basic civil rights and civil liberties. I know David Dinkins as a good and decent man who shares our values. Don't yield to the Republican campaign of fear. Don't turn your back on what you believe in. Stand with Dave Dinkins.
A governor's biggest job is to hold down taxes and manage spending. The choice is very clear. Jim Florio is promising $1 billion in new spending. $1 billion. Florio voted 16 times to raise taxes on New Jersey families. He refuses to rule out new taxes. I voted consistently to cut taxes, and I fought to hold down spending. Remember, as your governor, I'll put a lid on spending, and I won't raise your taxes.
Jim Porter, Governor.
I love what you do for me, Toyota. I love how you set me free, Toyota.
Toyota's new four-wheel drive, four-door 4Runner for 1990. Space, luxury, and V6 power. Where you go is your concern. Getting you back is ours.
At Giant Stadium, fans used to cheer me on. Here at Meadowlands Racetrack, I'm doing the cheering. It's great to play where I used to work.
George, we won!
And still be a winner.
The Marathon, starting line 80.